and sure enough, they're nonstop on Facebook already.
Yeah. Well, the easiest one is just what you're saying. You know, what are flies attracted to?
Exactly.
You know. How did you feel? How did you feel she did, Brian?
I think she did good. I think there's still some spots that they could have really, gone after him a little bit, but at least and the moderators, right? I'm going to be in control of this, and they keep letting Pence just talk and talk and talk, and she was being very respectful. She's holding back, but she was being respectful and letting him finish his whole thing. Moderators, though, they don't take any control, but I think she did good.
No, the moderator kept saying, "Your time's up. Your time's
Yeah.
up. Your time's up." I think she should have said, "Did you hear me, Mr. Vice President Pence? Your time is up," and shouted at him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he just, and it wasn't like he just kept going for a little bit, like over his time, which, you know, okay, you want him to finish his thought. He went like a minute in one case and just kept going and kept going, kept going, kept going. Uh,
But the taxes she got out, and she got out a lot of stuff that, to the point was good.
well, when he said, you know, do you want to add two more people to the Supreme Court? And, you know, do you want to pack the Supreme Court? I thought she should have immediately come back with the answer. Well, what do you think you're doing?
I thought she did. I thought she did. She said,
she
yeah,
did
let's talk
later
about
on, but what she did is she associated it with the appointments to the district courts as well,
Yeah.
and then said, and there were not one black judge appointed. Yes, Charlie.
I was just wondering if I lost the YouTube feed. Has anybody else lost it?
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Something's
YouTube
with
feed got
it.
cut off too.
Well,
With
let me see here. YouTube feed. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't get on and the YouTube feed.
It's wow. This is okay. Let me see here. Let me see what I got to do here because it's recording, so you know that's fine.
Oh, okay.
But I gotta.
Oh, it's back on now.
It's back on.
Yeah, it was off when I was trying to log on. I had problems, and the YouTube feed was off. Now it's back.
You
on.
know something? The problem is that YouTube has this kind of occasionally. They very seldom have this problem, but you know they're entitled. I went for a long time without having this happen, and now we only have 6 people watching. See, killed my audience.
Oh my god.
You know, could have been it could have been a glitch in YouTube. It could have been an overpowering of YouTube of people having watched the debate. You know, any one of a number of things. But if you want to, folks, see the whole show, you can see it right here on Gabnet later on. Watch the YouTube feed. Because I've been recording it, so who knows what happens.
I felt sorry more for Steven's cat. My God, the sounds he was making is so sad.
Oh, I mean, you know, I mean, I love animals, and when I heard this, I went, "Oh my God!" And he called me later, and he said, "No," he said, "I didn't have to put him down. The doctor fixed him up, put a cone around put a satellite dish, as he put it, around his neck,
Yeah.
and we brought him home. He probably was scratching at his eye, is what he was probably
Yeah.
doing.
Probably what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know. Anyway, so I guess we are back on. Yeah. I felt she did a good job. I think he's very off-putting. You know, I mean, he's such a blatant. He's not a liar. He's a guy who takes his version of the truth and molds it to his thinking, and anything that doesn't fit, he kind of, you know, jiggers with.
Yeah.
It's not like he's exactly a liar. He's a liar.
He doesn't just blatantly make shit up like Trump does.
Yeah, no, but I mean, he's a liar. It says Zoom link, please. Video version of a citizen panel. Well, I'm sorry. Why don't you just? I'll tell you, Bree. If you want a Zoom link, and I don't know. I don't know what happened. Oh, it just started all over again. That's the reason why. This thing is not going to be looking good. Anyway, I'm going to have a lot of work for me after the show's over tonight. Because it didn't go back and continue the feed. It just started its own feed that doesn't have all the regular stuff. Okay? So if you want it, Bree, all you have to do is go to gabnet.net. Gabnet.net, and over on the right-hand side of the page, in the right-hand column, in the middle of the page, it says click here for Zoom. And that'll do it for you. Okay? So I'm sorry, I'll change it back to the way it was later tonight. I don't know what the hell happened here, but what it did is it just simply started again, and the last show, it's just started a whole new version of the show. So I have to go back and I have to forget it. You people can just go over to YouTube and look for the live show, the show that's from YouTube, not the one that says live on YouTube, and you will get the program, all of it, okay? Because that's being recorded. Oh, boy. It isn't one thing, it's another. Anyway, so did you get me, Bree? That's how you go there. I've mentioned this any number of times, folks, that in order to get a hold of us on Zoom, just go to gabnet.net. And over on the right-hand side of the page, in the middle of the page, in the right-hand side of the page, in the middle of that column, it says click here to Zoom, whatever, and you just do that, and there it is. Okay. So
Bree should have it in his last meetings also.
Yeah, he should have it in his last meetings, but apparently he was the one that kept saying, go to Zoom, use Zoom. Well, you should know how to do that, Bree. And you better call now, since I've gone to this trouble of explaining this to you. Here comes, what, 12? This one I don't know. We may have to get rid of them fast, okay? Let's see here. 12062. Let me see here. Who is this? Is this anybody we know? Am I gonna have to get rid of you? Are you gonna unmute yourself? Well, I will now say I'm gonna put him back in the waiting room. There we go. Okay. Anyway, who knows who he is? But anyway, and I could remove him, but if it's somebody we know, they can't. If I remove them, they can't call back. Is what the problem is. So
you could have taken a jab at him too, and say, "Aren't you supposed to be in isolation right now? They're not doing any contact tracing. So contact tracing, he should be there." And also, she asked one question about the Rose Garden event, and he sort of went around that. He talked for 2 minutes about nothing, and then he got rushed off it.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, it was quite I think that he was trying to run out the clock. He was, as I say, no different than Trump, except that they didn't cut off his mic. They should have cut his mic off when she said, "Thank you, Mr. Vice President Bozo," and then gone over to her. But they didn't. There was no cutting of the mics. And I think they felt they didn't need to because, well, it isn't Trump and he isn't going to do what Trump did. But he did a version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, I think Trump trained him.
Really?
To do that on purpose.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Because,
my mother would always say that if you lied, you'd get a pimple on your tongue.
Really?
Or a fly on your head.
Or fly on your head. I think he might have a pimple on his tongue right now.
How do you people feel? Well, to talk, I wish, you see, Bree, after all that brouhaha. Oh, he says, I'm on iPad. Well, you can go to gabnet.net on your iPad. Why do I have to teach this guy how to do everything? I guess I do. Let me see here. Ah, here comes Bertie. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna put the number on there.
Huh?
I was gonna put the meeting number on there, but if he's coming on,
Yeah. Well, the trouble is, if you put the meeting number, they don't have an easy meeting number. It's not like it's something I have to cut and paste all the time because I'm not going to type all that.
I might
out.
post it.
You post it, yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah. Oh, here comes Tony. Okay.
Zoom always saves it in your little thing, though. Your little pull-down thing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
Are you there, Bree? There he is. They said
it doesn't save it when you have 20 gadgets, 7 different Zoom IDs, and et cetera, et cetera.
Well, quit doing that.
So I went on my laptop, and I got the link there, and I tried to post it to the YouTube chat, but they won't let you post a link in the YouTube chat. So I had to email it to my iPad's Gmail and open it from there.
Let me see if I could do that. But of course, it wouldn't get anybody to do anything what they haven't already done. But let me see Zoom, and then I get the thing and I cut and paste it. Okay, so I go copy. All right, now I move over here. Come on. All right, now I go over to the thing here, and let me see here, Zoom. Okay, and then I go boom. There goes my cut and paste. Yeah, I was able to cut and paste it. Yeah.
Vernon put Black Flies Matter.
I can't do it.
Black Flies Matter?
Black Flies Matter.
Oh, wow. Vernon, you nasty human being.
We like that.
Did you see it? Did you see the debate, Bree?
No, I woke up at 10 o'clock here just about an hour ago. So, and after I had breakfast, I'm just sitting down now in my study. So I did see the 2 minutes to fly on Pence's head. That was the update I got. I mean, of course, that's the most important thing you want to know about a debate.
Well, that's going to be the biggest
fly.
That's going to be the biggest takeaway tonight, and the memes are going to fly left and right. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is that it was, I think, it was an important night because I think this is going to be the last debate, if you want my opinion. I don't think there's going to be a debate next week with Trump. If for no other reason than I think Biden doesn't want to get anywhere near him right now, because anybody who does comes down with COVID.
There's 34 people now in the White House.
34?
34?
That's what I just saw the headline before I got on.
Let's not forget that at that first debate, Trump and possibly half his staff and family were contagious, and they went in there. They literally could have killed Biden, inadvertently perhaps, but indirectly perhaps. But definitely there was a risk to expose Biden to that.
Refused to put the masks on.
That is, if you think about it, if Biden came down with it and died, wow, that I couldn't even imagine that. I mean, Trump goes in, and he probably knew he had to know he had symptoms.
Well, if Biden had it and wound up in the hospital, and Trump had it and wound up in the hospital like he should be right now, then I suppose the debate tonight would be between the two presidential candidates.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. My question is, at this point, you look at some of these statistics around the country, and it looks like, and a lot of people are saying that they've never seen poll numbers like this prior to an election for a president that had been this strong.
Yeah.
Where the guy ever lost. That, Trump should start packing up his stuff already. Because
Can't say that though.
I mean, in some cases, you've got a 17% lead.
Well, more.
Yeah.
More like 40%. What's the record? What's the biggest landslide?
Oh boy, I'm trying to think of big landslides in my time.
Reagan probably. I would think against
Nixon was a
college,
big
maybe.
landslide.
I remember
Based on
that,
media reports,
watching it.
Yeah.
based on media reports in 2016, I would have told you that it was going to be Clinton in a landslide.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, the poll numbers she was getting in advance of her race, is nothing like this.
Nope.
No.
You know, she was getting half of what Biden's getting.
Who won? I think Reagan won 49 states.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mondale only won one state.
Yeah, that was a landslide.
Yeah, we're not going to see that kind of thing happening now. I don't think we're ever going to see that kind of thing happening ever again, because the American public is so polarized that certain states are just possible nut to crack. Although, you know, I mean, South Carolina is kind of getting to look like it's in play. It looks like their senatorial race down there may go
Yeah.
another way. It's going to be an interesting month as they total this up, because we're not going to get the answer the first night. Although Trump is going to declare victory.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree when you said that last night. I think he's going to say, "Oh, here we are. We're the winners." Say his speech and try to end everything right there.
And then when they try to go for all the mail-in votes, he's going to try and put up go to the Supreme Court and say you can't count those.
I think
he'll call in the military.
I think Biden's gonna win the voting at the polls. I think Biden's gonna win that. After the way Trump's been acting this week, I think Biden's gonna win that.
Well, I think New York and California, sure, but I don't think the Midwestern states.
Well,
those are going to be close.
My question is, and this is all speculative, folks, but what do you think's really going on in the White House? I mean, do you think he's well? Do you think he's sick? What do you think? Yes,
I
Jim.
think lots of drugs are difficult, regardless of what's going on. But the fact that he's sick at the same time, and also he's a little bit of a mental case anyway,
Well,
that's a 3 pieces of a problem.
Charlie?
Yeah, I've been watching videos of Trump all day, and I think I'm starting to come around to he's really sick. And he's just trying to figure out a way to use his sickness for his advantage, but he's really sick. And he's kind of ignoring that he's sick. He's ignoring his medical advice. He's ignoring his doctors. And I think he actually may die from this. I think he's so stupid.
He's telling his doctors what to do.
Yeah, he won't listen to his doctors. I think he's going to end up killing himself.
I think there's a good chance of that. What do you think, Bree? Would you agree with that assertion?
Yeah, I don't understand 3 or 4 days, in the hospital. That really perplexes me. The other thing, though, people were saying he was wheezing and stuff. Well, he climbed up those stairs, which he's never used before. I think I would be wheezing after climbing up the stairs. So I don't think that was a good move on his behalf.
But he didn't look like he was wheezing particularly. I mean, I said he was going up those stairs, but the way he was breathing.
Yeah.
No doubt.
It was very labored breathing. It wasn't. I'm tired from going up the stairs breathing. Where you go, let me catch my breath.
Yeah. That's true.
Did you guys see the Covita?
Ischemia or something. Ischemia.
Yeah,
There's a term for that when you can't get the oxygen.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that he is under the weather, but I think they pump him full of enough drugs that it keeps him going. And for some people, that can get you back to normalcy. And for others, you drop off a cliff. I've seen it both ways.
Well, no, he's taking steroids, and he's taking not a moderate steroid. He's taking about 4 times the dose that a normal person would get. Well,
you do not want steroids.
Well, I mean, you want to see his roid rage? last night he said that I'm not going to let the package for COVID help, financial package, go through until I'm elected president. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this morning he changed his mind.
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Are we getting it?
I'll sign
No.
a limited one, as long as I can put my my name on a check,
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, he's really, I think, got a problem with these steroids. This whole thing about I feel better now than I felt in 20 years. Of course, you're going to feel terrific
Yes.
if you've got those steroids in.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I had a friend who
What?
she had like skin rashes and stuff after she went on a vacation to Thailand, and she went to the doctor there, and they gave her some steroid shot. Completely messed up her thyroid, and like she started to gain weight, and like just really messed her up. So you don't want steroids. If you can avoid them, stay away from them.
That shows how sick he is. They gave him steroids.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, they're giving him the
Did you see
steroids.
he said catching was a blessing from God?
Not yet. Yeah, you said something, John, and we didn't hear you. What were you going to say?
Did you guys see that the Covida video from the
yeah.
Project? Yeah, it's when he goes up on the balcony, they're playing Evita. You got to Google it, look it
I
up.
haven't seen it, but I heard of it.
Who did that?
La Vida Loco?
You see, the Lincoln Project did that?
Living La
Yeah,
Vida Loco.
to the music of Evita.
Yeah.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
Yeah, because he's up there on the balcony and shit. It's pretty funny.
You know what is kind of telling in all of this, and I don't know how to parse it exactly, but if it were any other president, we would feel sorry for him. We would be praying for his recovery, even if it was Nixon or Reagan or Bush. I mean, there's a point at which you go, well, nice enough guy, got a nice family. We don't want to see him die. In this case, first of all, you've got people going, I don't think he's really sick. That was you, Charlie. I heard that not just from you, but from about a half a dozen other people I've talked to in the last couple of days. Yeah. That doesn't speak very well to the guy's character, that you think he's faking a deadly disease.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the school of thought where I don't think he's as sick as they say he is. I think he might have slight symptoms early on, and I think they just juiced him up. I think he probably told them, listen, you got some symptoms, and I think he probably said, listen, just juice me up with everything you got.
I don't think so. I think he's far worse, and I think they're just masking all his symptoms with these drugs. Brian Ludwig, who tonight, for the first time, totally looks like Che Guevara.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you see the debate at all?
Oh, absolutely.
And what did you think?
I thought Pence was very condescending. You could tell you could tell he was a closet misogynist because it was just dripping out of his mouth. How he tried to put Kamala down, and I don't like Kamala, but I didn't vote for either one of them, because I already voted. But, giving credit where credit is due, I believe Kamala won this. Yeah,
I think she did too. I felt that he was very condescending, especially at one point he was going, how happy I am to have a woman like you running as vice president, Thank you very much. You like the Negroes. I get it. Okay, thank you.
And she's got Chinese in it, too.
She's got, what does she have in her? She's
Jamaican. No, Indian.
Indian. Yeah.
Indian?
Indian.
Yeah.
I think she's Indian and Jamaican, I think.
Yeah.
Hello, Vernon. How are you? So what did you take away from this debate?
You mean besides Black Lives Matter?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting that Pence didn't answer a single question that the moderator posed.
I know.
Yeah.
Not a single question did he
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah, for
He
sure.
did what a politician normally does, although she was answering some of the questions. But what they do, politicians sometimes. This is why I never liked interviewing politicians. I always used to say, they'd say to me, "Oh, do you want to have so and so on the show?" I said, "Nah, he's a politician." They go, "Well, what's wrong with a politician?" And I said, "They never answer any questions. They listen to your question, and then they answer the one that's in their head that they want to answer."
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what he was doing tonight. And that's why I can't stand ever having to, deal with politicians as a guest, because you're never going to get a straight answer out of them. And I told you that story of Jerry Brown when he was running for president. I said to him, he ran for president. I didn't like him that much, and it was one of those kind of interviews, right? Safe and everything. But then later on, I had him on when he wasn't running, and he was going after the highway patrol, and he was going after the governor of the state at that time, and he was going after the whole system, and blah 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 blah. And I said to him, I said, "I love you." I said, "Why couldn't you be this way when you were running for president?" And he said, "Because I was running for president." He says, "You got handlers who tell you, don't do this, don't do that, shouldn't do this. You got to lay low, can't go, And he said, and that's what happens. I mean, they're running for president and vice president now, and they got to be safe. In the case of Pence, he was really there just to excuse Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pence's wife came from the audience with no mask on, also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kamala's husband had a mask on, but still, it's good to have. But yeah, with no mask on with the Pence group, geez, if they can be infected too. So.
Wow. Well, and why didn't they do what they said they were going to do and throw them out if they didn't have a mask on?
Yeah.
Oh, by that time the debate was over.
Yeah.
What, they took it off during the debate?
We
No,
don't
she
know.
took it off
We don't
when she
know that.
came up on stage.
Yeah, at the end of the
When she
debate.
came up on
You guys
stage, she
saw
took
her
it
with
off? That's when you put it on.
But she wasn't wearing it when she went up.
She wasn't wearing it when she walked up from the audience. I didn't know she had it on down there. But she walked up
Neither
with
did
no
I.
mask on. Yeah.
Those people are just being shitheels, I mean, they don't care whose lives they're
Like, fuck you.
endangering. They just want to get their point of view
Alex.
across.
Alex,
Mm.
in answer to, and my opinionated answer to your
Yeah.
question as to why they didn't throw them out, why they didn't throw Karen of all names, Karen
Yeah.
out for not wearing a mask, assuming that she didn't wear it at all throughout the entire debate, is just systemic of the two-tiered justice system we have.
How's that?
Emblematic.
Emblematic, exactly. Thank you. How is that? Well, because he is Karen Pence, and Brian Ludwig, ain't shit compared to either one of them.
I think it's a timid nature of these people. Well, Zink Finkelstrom.
Yeah.
Well, you
I
being
got somebody coming on named Zink Finkelstrom. Let's
sounds-
see
Yeah, somebody-
let's see if this is going to be a Zoom bomb, or whether it's that. Yes, it's a Zoom bomb. Let's get out of here, folks.
Who is that guy?
That's
The one
Zink
thing they were saying-
Finkelstrom.
The one thing they're saying also is they're so laxed on on what their rules are that they just have to sign something saying that they tested negative 72 hours in that 72-hour window when they come there. So they're very relaxed on all their items that they're supposed to be very strict on when these guys get in.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of ridiculous,
Already they were actually having pictures on Facebook closing in on extreme close-ups on one of Pence's eyes. His left
Oh
eye,
yes.
soft head and shit,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
in the corner.
speculating as to whether or not he already has
Yeah.
COVID.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he is red in this one eye. But
what is it with the redness in the eye thing? The redness in the eye thing.
Red eye, pink eye.
Yeah.
Maybe Trump pissed in it beforehand to let him know who's the boss. Marking his territory.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we do know that he was full of shit because he had a fly on his head for a while there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that, but I heard that.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. So anyway,
Must have been listening to
you saw it? Did you watch it, Kevin?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was on a little bit of a delay.
Yeah. So
I was eating dinner, so I didn't want to launch.
what did you think?
Understandable.
It was pretty much what I expected. I didn't, I really didn't expect Pence to avoid so many questions. I figured he would just sit there and bullshit. But a puppet with no strings. What do you expect?
Yeah.
He did exactly what I figured. He was a puppet with no strings, and a couple of the questions he absolutely avoided completely. And I think Kamala held her own and nailed him on a few things, but
Yeah.
it was kind of boring actually. I
Well,
like to see a train wreck once in a while, but
yeah,
wasn't-
but what would you rather have? Something like this or something like what went on a week ago?
no, I don't like the complete train wreck, but I like a little action. But I think the lady that Susan was, she was keeping it under control. She made Wallace look a little bit.
I wish
Yeah.
that Kamala would have done to Pence what she did to Biden during the debates.
Yeah,
She is capable of that.
Yeah.
And she didn't do that.
Some say she did worse than the moderator. Some say that she did worse than Chris Wallace. It's
I
interesting.
thought Chris Wallace did a great job considering the terrible situation he was handed.
right. That's you got to consider the work or the people he had to work with, or the things he had to work with.
There was an interview that Chris Wallace did with Trump a couple of months ago, in a garden somewhere. I can't remember.
Yeah,
And I felt sorry for Chris Wallace after I saw that interview because it was like pulling teeth to try and get an answer out of Trump.
and do you think that carried over into the debate? I'm sure it did.
Oh, I'm sure it carried over into the debate.
Yeah,
But I think Chris Wallace thinks of himself as a fairly decent, what do you call it? Fairly
Journalist.
decent journalist.
His
Yeah.
father.
interviewer. Yeah,
Yeah, an interviewer. And I think he doesn't like to necessarily hew the Fox line, But Fox
Yeah.
seems to
Yeah.
like him, so that makes me worry about him,
Well, neither did Shepard Smith, as I recall, unless he's still working there.
Well,
I thought
no,
he
he's
quit.
at CNBC now.
Yeah, he's at CNBC now.
It was a good. I liked him a lot.
Well,
Go,
I
Joe.
think I think most people of a liberal bent liked.
He ought to do voiceover work. That's
And I've seen his
that's
show
old.
advertised on Fox.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Oh wow.
Do you guys still think they're going to ramrod that Amy Cohen Barrett, whatever the hell her name is?
I think she's going to have a harder time than they believe now.
Yeah.
I think that there's so much there's so much going against even being able to take a vote on that right now, just simply because how many senators want to show up and breathe in each other's faces?
Yep.
Yeah, and to go through that process. Here, McConnell was saying, "Oh, we're going to start the hearings next week." Well, that was last week.
Yeah, I mean,
Tell him to start in the Oval Office.
Huh?
Tell him to start in the Oval Office and talk to Trump about it. Maybe he'll get it.
I hope he does.
Well, wasn't
Maybe
he
he'll be
potentially
What?
wasn't he potentially infectious during the East Rose Garden ceremony where they brought her out, and then they showed all the indoor meetings between like 3 or 4 people who were positive with everybody else in the room.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so how
Conway
did they
and-
not all? They probably all have it. but some
Amy
just
Coney
maybe-
Barrett probably doesn't
Yeah.
because
She
she
had it back in August and she's recovered from it.
Yeah, so she might still have
Saying.
antibodies. What?
So
That's what they're claiming. I don't know.
But they're not sure.
Yeah.
Nobody is sure about that.
Yeah.
So they have a sorry to go back a little bit, but what Brian was talking about, yeah, I saw on Facebook they're showing that eye, and I noticed the eye also, and I Googled it, and yeah, conjunctivitis is a symptom of COVID-19, and this is posted from over a week ago.
Oh,
They're saying
wow.
1 to 3% come up with pink eye.
Let me tell you,
He asked her. He asked her at one point that if she's going to pack the court again. She and the president would be President Biden would pack the court again, and nobody's taking this into consideration. If I were her, my answer would be, well, if we do have to pack, if we do add additional justices, it would be an additional 4. Since there are 13 appellate courts, we would have 4 additional justices chosen from those respective.
No, the room isn't on fire. I just had to get myself a throat lozenge because my throat is getting a little rough for some reason.
Could you imagine the things that Pence can do or does, and he has no worry that anybody's going to talk about him? Because I mean, he could have had COVID, and the whole time, and nobody would know it, and nobody would talk about it because he literally can't do anything to get coverage next to Trump.
That's true.
What do you mean can't get coverage next to Trump? I don't understand.
I didn't watch the debate, but so far every pop-up is about something about Trump. It's not about Pence or Harris or Biden. So
Trump's ego overshadows him.
Pence could be doing some crazy things, and we'd never know about it. He has to feel so happy about the fact that the spotlight is away from him. He can get away with anything.
Hide in plain sight.
Well, yes and no. I mean, in any other circumstance, would Drudge have taken a picture of his eye and put it on the front of the Drudge Report?
That's a good point, yeah.
We're looking for everything.
Oh, Drudge Report is still around? My gosh.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to bring it up now. I haven't looked at Drudge since
Trump hates it because he's been critical of Trump. But Trump hates anything that people are critical of.
It's fake news.
Actually, he loves anything that brings him attention.
Yes, Vernon.
Have you guys heard about this steroid that Trump is taking, the dexamethorphan, methazone, dexamethasone? That's steroid, and he's not on a normal dose. He's on a high dose. But what that's for is they've used it on people who were really critical with COVID pneumonia. And what it does is suppresses your immune system, because when you get so inflamed with the COVID virus, your immune system starts attacking itself. It starts attacking your own body, and they use that steroid to slow down your immune system. But the bad side of that is it can actually let the virus continue to multiply unchecked.
What is amazing to me is that they didn't give him one thing and see if that helped a little, and then maybe another thing, see if that helps him a little. Instead, they threw the whole thing at him at one time.
The whole kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that sounds to me like a very clumsy doctor.
Well, the guy's an osteopath.
Yeah.
He's not a pulmonologist.
Right. But he will say yes to anything Trump asks him to do. And that's the point. Who's the commander-in-chief?
Yeah.
Trump.
Trump.
Who's in the Navy?
The doctor.
The doctor. If the commander-in-chief gives you an order,
You got to follow it.
you got to follow it.
I have a question. Could Trump have gotten complete blood replacement?
Sure, why
Only
not?
if he used his fangs.
I mean, it seems to me that he could do just about anything to stay alive.
Yeah.
He could, import organs. People would probably donate their organs for him.
No, sure. The cults.
The cult.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta get some color in my face. I need
They'd
to.
let him fuck
Is
him,
there a
fuck him
beach
up
somewhere
the
I can go to, folks? Oh boy.
Speaking of Colts,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Amy Coney.
That pancake
Oh.
makeup that Trump uses.
Mm.
yes. What were you gonna say?
Slap.
What were you gonna say, John?
I think the
Oh.
the doctor that he chose,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than he is a military guy, he's not capable of making decisions on this kind of vascular problems.
Well, I want to know. Were
Oh, yeah.
a lot of those doctors were Navy, weren't they?
Yeah, it's a Navy hospital.
Yeah. But I mean,
Well, but you know, one of these things,
Walter
Alex.
Reed is Army. Walter Reed.
Army, listen,
Yeah.
yes, military hospital.
but not anymore.
was-
Not anymore. It was. It's not any longer. Bethesda.
I know, Alex.
Yeah.
You might know this, but I can tell you at points in my career, I had to get up on stage to announce something or tell people, and I would get a jolt from that. So, like, even if I were sick, I could get up and announce the band and get everybody dancing and going. Then I'd go home and I would just plop dead, you know. But for like a few, you get sort of an adrenaline. Well, for Trump, he's always on stage. Like I think he gets a thrill out of that. Like as long as he keeps doing that.
Well, my question is, there's a drug that they give you that's a steroid to take care of certain situations, and I can't remember the name of it now. I think my wife was on it at one point, and it is only like 1/4 the strength of this stuff that they were giving him, and they're giving him this, what, twice a day, once a day, how many times a day? You know, yes, Vernon.
4 times a day is what I heard.
4 times a day. I mean, he's going to be taken down off these drugs in a couple of days, and he's going to crash like a mother. You know, and at that point, I think I want to leave the country. I mean, who knows what? You know,
they can only crash decisions and shit.
Get ready with that 25th Amendment, for crying out loud. You know,
now he's like this, more so than usual.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's crazier than he ever was, and the craziness is being exacerbated by the fact that he's losing this election, and he knows it. Mm-hmm. Yes,
the
Charlie.
16 points.
Charlie.
Yeah, one of the side effects of the steroid is delusions of grandeur. So it makes him think he's stronger than he really is.
Oh, so he's been on steroids all these years? Is that what you're saying?
I'm thinking that's like a megaphone to his already narcissistic personality.
Now that's a good point. This is a very good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it amplifies
Oh,
it.
God,
Tony, what do you
awesome.
seem to be seeing as you watch all this going down?
You know, I'm actually still in the school of thought that I think he has the virus, but I think he's performing for everybody. When I see that picture on the balcony and him taking the mask off and making that face, to me it's almost like it's like a movie to me. I think he's playing to the camera somewhat.
Well, he's doing his very best Mussolini.
And you know what I think, Alex? I think if he loses the election, here's the question I pose. I don't think he's going to live more than 2 years because I think it's going to kill him if he loses. The notoriety will be gone in the spotlight. Can he live after this?
He'll find something to do, but I don't know if he's going to live. I mean, I think he's his own worst doctor right now. And I think, am I right, Brian? I mean, he's giving himself bad prescriptions.
Yeah.
And he got on the air today, Brian. Brian, the drug guy. Brian, he got on the air today saying, I feel so good, I want to make this treatment available to every American for free. Did you see that one?
He said that?
Yes.
He's dangerous, Alex.
And it's going to be a cure by election day.
Huh?
Yeah, and what does that do to that company's stock too?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what it does overall is not very good because it's making people think, oh, good, then I'll take this. Believe me, you do not. If you have COVID, you want this stuff, but you want it in proportions as you're getting sicker, not all at once in the beginning as some kind of preventative, which it's not. Yes, Vernon.
Did you hear what Kamala said tonight about if a vaccine comes along, would you take it? She said, well, if Dr. Fauci said that it was safe, I'd be the first in line. But if Donald Trump said it was safe, I wouldn't take it.
And then he went on a rant.
Yeah.
Pence turned that around and said, "Oh, you're advocating for no vaccine," and he turns her words around, and
that's not what she said at all. She just said, "I'm not gonna believe it from Trump, but I'll believe it from Fauci."
Yep.
He tried to take everything she said and turn it around. I mean, his one line about you're trying to pack the Supreme Court by adding 2 or 3 more people. What do you think? What are they trying to do?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a pretty much packed Supreme Court already.
They put 2 on illegally, or they're trying to put 2 on illegally.
And you know what I wish she would have said when he said that? She should have said, you know what, Vice President, why can't we lay the woman to rest? Why do we have to rush? Isn't it disrespectful to not lay her to rest? She wasn't even in the ground yet, and you had your claws out. Isn't that disrespectful to the woman who served?
Yeah, and then she went back to history
She
about.
wasn't that quick on her
She
feet,
went back
sir.
to history about Lincoln.
She should have also followed that up with the history from 2016.
Yeah, but I think she went to Lincoln because it was a harder one for him to fight around, and she added in that particular case. She said there was also a Republican Senate in place at the time, and she put the whole scenario. It was identical to what happened back in 2016 when Obama tried to, and she said that, and he didn't really have an answer for that. He just went on some other rant. Oh, well, yeah, but you guys, you want to put 2 more people on the Supreme Court. Tell me you're not going to. Well, you're not president yet. You can't tell anybody really what you're going to and not going to do. Yes, Brian.
Yeah. The other thing, you jogged my memory, is the other thing she could have done regarding court packing is that in addition to going back to Lincoln's time, she could have said, well, we didn't always have 9 justices either, Pence. So, eat it.
Didn't we have, I think we had 11 at one time, and then we had 5, and then it went up to...
I'd be in favor of 11.
Huh?
I'd be in favor of 11.
Well,
I'd be in favor of 13.
I'd be in favor of 11, and I'd be in favor of what they've proposed, is that it's not a term for life. It is an 18-year term,
that too.
and you have to stagger it so that every term 2 justices get appointed.
And not just the Supreme Court either, the district courts, all the courts.
They made a big deal. Trump made a big deal about, when Obama was president, he could have put people in those district courts, but he didn't. And in those, other courts around the country, but he didn't. You know why he didn't? He tried.
By Mitch McConnell.
He tried to, but Mitch McConnell prevented it from happening. So it wasn't Obama's fault that he didn't have his judges in there.
He's more deadly than Trump is. I'm sorry about that.
Who,
McConnell is deadlier.
He's a disgusting...
Those are other ones. They get away with so much because Trump is a lightning rod. He takes
Speaking of term limits, too. They have no term limits.
Yeah. What were you saying? Going to say, Brian? Brian...
The other question that he didn't answer was the smooth transition if he lose.
Like that.
Thanks.
That's cute. I like that.
He said, so they asked about the transitional, if he loses, will it be a smooth transition? And Pence wouldn't answer that. Pence says, oh, we're going to win because we're strong, and da-da-da-da. He just kept going on, but he wouldn't answer that question.
He never answered it.
Yep.
Well, I'm not going to call Trump down and out because I could say everything's happened to him this week that could lose him an election. But he did everything he could to lose the last one, and look what happened. But I think, you see, I said this last night, and I'll say this again. The thing that's happening and the problem that's happening is that really, I think America is just kind of tired of Trump. They've just maxed out on Trump. Okay, we had 4 years of this comedy show. Let's get back to some serious business because we got some serious problems.
But
I
I'll
don't know
believe
about that. How many seasons did Apprentice run?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Well, it ran a couple of years longer than it should have because the last two seasons were in the can for at least a year each before they ran them.
The 4 seasons of Trump presidents, I don't know, they might be able to go 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah, but we suddenly I think America realizes this isn't a reality show. Not when their neighbor's dying of COVID
I was
or their
gonna say,
relative is dying
I
of
don't have
COVID.
to,
Huh?
yeah, I don't have to say it like this, but I'm gonna, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful term for the people who died, because it's a shame. But actually, the virus, I can't believe I'm gonna say it, was probably their race in the hole, Alex, the Democrats, from them getting him out, I think.
I don't
I
know.
know.
But I know that some people might want to think that the Democrats are the worst people ever.
His mishandling of it, I would
Okay,
say.
but I don't think there's a single Democrat that says, "Hey, this has been good for us." I think they would rather win without this happening.
How about his mismanagement of it? I would mean.
Well, I think that his
Of course.
I think that I think him getting COVID is less of a plus for his campaign or negative for his campaign
I mean, he can't protect us.
than his handling of the debate a week ago. I think that really hurt him because people didn't like the way he was acting.
I mean, and put it in perspective too. If he can't protect himself in the White House, and all these people are getting it, it's almost like it's like the period at the end of the sentence. If you can't protect your own house, you got to go. Then this show is over.
I got to tell you something. When he ran last time, he was running as a private citizen. It was running for the presidency. So
As an outsider.
anything he did, people just kind of laughed off. Ah, that's Trump. Don't worry, he's not going to get elected. Right? And so he got away with a lot of stuff people wouldn't normally get away with. Now he's trying to get away with that same stuff, but he's president of the United States. And that's a slightly different ball field he's playing from,
Work before, yeah.
And where it worked 4 years ago doesn't work when you're president. When you're president, you want to show how presidential you are, You don't care if the captain of the Titanic has a gray beard and a stalwart look in his eye as the ship is floating through the water. You want to make sure that captain knows how to fucking steer a boat.
How'd you miss the iceberg? He was right in front of you.
It was right in front of you. Yeah, you should have seen that all along. But hey, they hit the iceberg. They didn't think it did any damage.
Really? That's what it was.
Yeah.
I still believe that.
Oh, it's just like what Pence said tonight. He thinks their response to the coronavirus has been terrific.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know what response. I mean, I think that's the question she should ask. What response are you exactly talking about? Because really, you've been sitting on your hands through this whole thing and only excusing it. Oh, it'll go away in the summer. Oh, it's just like a bad flu. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Well, now we're up to over 210,000 people. What's your excuse now?
We can't even have coffee in the bakery anymore. I got to get everything.
Well, it could have been over 2 million if we hadn't done what we did.
I love that thing that Kevin has there because that is that was one of the things Pence put out. They were great at making up little posters. 21 days to stop the spread, but none of those 21 ways of doing it was wear a mask.
Exactly.
What was the original number in there, Kevin?
By the way, enough with this because something happened today that I got to bring up. Our Governor Cuomo,
Stopped at 360.
huh?
I stopped marking it at 360. 360 days.
Oh, I see. Okay. Today, what he did is there are these certain hot clusters that he wants to keep as clusters because he said if you let them get loose, they then become community spread. He wants to stop these clusters. A lot of them are in the Orthodox Jewish areas. Guess what these Orthodox Jews were out doing today? They were protesting. And how were they protesting? Did you see this, Jeff?
No.
They were burning masks.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, right.
I mean, what a bunch of morons.
What absolute fucking yid idiots they are.
Wow.
I mean, They're burning. He went to them, hat in hand, and said, "Look, we need to kill this thing. We got to stop it. We need your help. We need your blessing. We need you to tell your people." And he said this also to Catholics, to churches, and so on. Tell your parishioners. We got to stop this thing. We don't want it to come back. And they said, he said that they seemed to go along with him or seem to be on his side. Today, they're demonstrating against him along with a bunch of other people. Oh, we don't want to close our bars. We don't want to close our restaurants. We don't want to, we don't want to wear masks, you know, and so they're burning masks. It's ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
It's going to continue.
Oh, of course it's going to continue. But that kind of
and I don't think that even Biden winning can do a thing.
Well, you can't do anything until January 20th.
And even then, I think it's too late, too little, and no one's going to listen to him on that side.
Well, the governor is now passing out $1,000 tickets for unsafe gatherings. Okay, in the subways, if you don't wear a mask, they can hand you I think it's a $50 fine. I think they've got to do more. I think they just got to say, look, we see you on the street not wearing a mask, you're getting a ticket. Now, maybe you're not going to pay the ticket, but that's going to show up on your credit line, you know, and things like that. So, you know, and start passing out these tickets like crazy. He said, you know, he said, well, I'll be unpopular for doing that, says a politician. And the answer is, you're going to be more unpopular if that person's dead. Okay? So, I mean, when I saw this today, I just went crazy. I just said, what, you don't have respect for anybody, you know?
Well, these anti-maskers are very passionate. I wonder if you're underestimating just how
stupid,
how
stupid,
how intense their stupidity is.
Well, you know something? This could be the Darwin theory, Darwin thing at work.
Yep.
The Darwin effect at work. You know, that if they keep not wearing masks, maybe it'll thin out the herd from the stupid.
Unfortunately, there'll be collateral damage, but, you know.
No, but, I mean, look at Trump and all his people. That's thinning out the herd right there. There's Darwinism at work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't just target stupid people. It targets healthy, innocent people next to them.
Well, that's because these people aren't thinking in those terms.
Yeah,
they're not.
Nobody at that Rose Garden event is an innocent bystander.
And she had her kids there too. Her kids not wearing masks right in the middle of all that.
Yep.
There's one picture of people. Man, I wish I would have taken a picture. CNN had, and they showed all the people who got it in the audience.
Yeah.
And there's two guys in between two of those senators, and there's two guys with masks on, and they didn't get it.
Yeah.
At least at that time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also Barron was there. A little girl was there. I mean, come on. What do you do? And they weren't wearing masks either. You know, I mean, and they got this idea that if you're outdoors, it's harder to get it. Well, it's not as easy to get it, but you can still get it.
When you breathe, the air goes straight up. That's why.
Yeah. Bill Barr, by the way, has quarantined himself because he was there. Did you see him? He was up there almost tongue kissing Hope Hicks. You know.
Can't unsee that.
Oh, it was, you know. I was hoping Bill Barr would get it. That was my sick hope on this. You know?
Oh, keep waiting. You might get your wish.
Huh?
Well, I mean, keep waiting, keep hoping. You might get your wish fulfilled.
Well, you know, it's all the fatties that have the highest risk. You know, age and obesity. Goodbye. See you later.
Chris Christie.
Speaking of
Chris Christie, yeah. Well, he said he's going to the hospital as a precaution.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
And he should. He should. He was there.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, they were all idiots not to wear masks. Well, we've all been tested. Well, when were you tested? 2 days ago. Maybe you got it yesterday. You know? Maybe it wasn't ready for that test to work. Okay? The tests aren't 100% sure. Oh, well, we did it outside. Whoop-de-fucking-do. You know? If you had all worn masks, then you would have probably all been safe.
But you weren't standing 6 feet apart from each other. So
Well, I mean, the
whatever.
reason why you wear a mask is if you can't be socially distant.
I don't think they were socially distant. What I'm saying is, I don't think they were socially distanced either. So yeah, they're good and righteously fucked as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, no, it's terrible.
They were
Just terrible.
shoulder to shoulder. Yeah.
Well, our governor in his speech yesterday used that as a perfect example of when people say, "Well, what is a gathering like that? Why is that a problem?" And he says, "Just look at the Rose Garden. Look at how many people got sick." And we still don't know how many of those are going to get sick in the end. How many little faces can we X off in that photo?
It's true. Somebody's got to go.
What is this now? We got a. What does it say?
It says Biden Harris.
Biden Harris. That's the flag.
There's going to be a million of them.
Nonstop. Oh my God.
We are going to be up to our ass in memes by tomorrow morning.
Oh, I saw a meme on William Barr. Speaking of him,
did you make that up, by the way, Vernon? Black Flies Matter?
No, George Takei tweeted that.
Oh, really?
Okay, that's the best one so far.
Yeah, he sent a picture of himself with his mask on, and that was the caption: "Black Flies Matter."
Wow,
that's amazing. Well,
I just got an email.
What?
Pretty clever.
I can now have Singapore Airlines first class meal delivered to me for $900.
Wow.
Very good. Very good.
Nice.
Rather than give you a ticket, they give you the experience of having a bad flight. I see. Anyway, I'm playing the theme here. This has been kind of nice tonight, and a lot of people too.
Eddie Van Halen, in memoriam.
Yeah, Eddie Van Halen. We mentioned him last night. Oh, and there's Adrian. There's our poster child for the show. Jeff, thank you, John Larkin. Thank you to Charlie Wallace. Thank you, Bree. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you to Brian. And thank you, Vernon. And thank you to the other Brian and the Brianess, Adrian. Good night, Adrian. Wave goodbye to everybody. Bye-bye. There she goes, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel for tonight. How about that? They're okay. They're just fine. Okay. Bye-bye, all of you. And there'll be another citizen panel coming up right now, right after us, with the intersection and Jack Bishop. Okay? And then we'll be back again here tomorrow night. Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. And also, please be careful out there and wear a mask, because really you're protecting somebody else. And that way you're respecting them. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Bye-bye.